Hi, my name is Sean McLaughlin. I'm a Business Development Director with Independent Trustee Company, and I'm here to talk to you today about what happens if you die before retiring. You're a business development executive, you've got a number of years built up in your pension, you've got a family. What actually happens from a pensions perspective if you were to die suddenly? In that regard, you have obviously got the trauma on the family of the death, difficult to deal with, but there could actually be a significant piece in relation to your pension that, if it isn't planned for properly, could in fact cause a bit of difficulty. So we'll take an example. Say you are in your mid-50s, you've built up a pension of about 800,000 and you're on a salary of 50,000. You've got a wife, 3 children, your wife's a little bit younger, maybe age 50, and unfortunately you die suddenly in service. What happens your pension benefits and how does it affect the family afterwards? Well, let's look at the rules. The rules are that it's 4 times salary plus personal contributions can be paid to the surviving spouse. So 4 times salary, if you're on 50,000 a year, 4 times salary, that's 200,000. And you've had no personal contributions, the employer has made them all. So that's just 200,000 there. That 600,000 remaining has to go to buy an annuity. Now, for a person age 50, annuity rates are very poor, but for a person age 50, annuity rates are really poor. So it would be 2 or 3% per annum. So that 600,000 is only going to buy maybe somewhere between 12 and 18,000 per annum. More to the point, the 600,000 is gone. It's not a benefit that is going to be available for your family after your wife's death. So, is there an alternative? What can be done? And there is an alternative, and it's worth looking at, and it's worth having this conversation with your advisor. So the alternative is that you take a look at your situation, your pension. If you've reached a scenario where it's built up to a substantial figure, it might be sensible to transfer it across to a PRSA. Transferring it to a PRSA creates a preserved benefit, and a preserved benefit is paid intact to the estate. And we'll look at the impact of that in a minute. An alternative, if you can't transfer to a PRSA, is to make the benefit preserved in your current employment. And there's implications of that in relation to future contributions, but it's a process that can be gone through and it can make your benefit preserved. And that means the entire 800k gets paid to your estate on your death. Looking at that, in terms of the quantum of impact that it can have, consider if that 800,000 was used to buy a property, for argument's sake, yielding 5%. That's 40,000 per annum of an income, which is much more significant than the 12 or 18,000 we mentioned earlier. More to the point, the 800,000 asset is still available. It hasn't been dispensed with, it hasn't been used to purchase an annuity, it's still available, and the value of that asset can pass on to a future generation. So, in looking at whether to make a decision to preserve your benefit or not, there are some downsides, and it's worth thinking about whether or not you're going to be making future contributions and whether you still will be able to make future contributions. If you have a number of companies, there are possibilities there. But if this is your sole employment, then effectively you will not be able to make further contributions into the pension. And that's a factor that needs to be taken into account. What really needs to happen here is that you need to have a word with your advisor, look at all the factors and make a decision. Look at whether it makes sense to finish contributing to your pension and make it preserved so that all of the value passes to your estate. Here at Independent Trustee Company, we have a very involved and thorough process for making a benefit preserved while you're still in current employment.